So, here at Red and Green School, our Key Stage 3 curriculum aims to see how geography explores physical processes over here, how our human actions are shaping the world we live in, and how we can manage these sustainably. So, the way we look at it really is kind of this is us at Red and Green, and we look at basically how does our planet function naturally? What do we do to our planet to make things better or worse? And how can we manage those sustainably in order to live in a sustainable future? That's basically the vision we have of our curriculum. Okay, so in order to do this, we study geography through 6 core concepts we believe represent geography in the modern world. Okay, these concepts are place, systems, sustainability, globalization, risk, and inequality, and it's done so through the study of 6 characters. Each concept is illustrated by a character: Peter, Sophia, Sam, Ganesh, Raya, and Isabel. And every single year, students will be studying the exact same concepts. The difference is the topics they'll be doing within these concepts. Okay, and ultimately, the curriculum map on the whole looks something along those lines. So in year 7, for instance, when you study place, you learn about Bristol on a local level. You then in year 8 learn about China and Russia as superpowers on a more national level, and then in year 9 you learn about sub-Saharan Africa, and you focus on a continental level. Okay, so you go the scale of understanding of place changes. And we look at the sense of place from year 12, for instance. When we look at systems, we look at natural systems. So we do water in year 7. We do carbon and foods, the biodiversity and nutrient cycle. And then we look at climate change in year 9. Sustainability, we do Bristol. We look at UK cities. That we then do a trip to the harbour side in year 8. And then we look at population. Is our population growth sustainable? For globalization, we look at how we are all interconnected around the world by looking at how does money move around our planet. We look at the how does migrate, why do people migrate, and how does migration work. And then we learn about Nigeria. Why is Nigeria the kind of the rising superpower in Africa? And we look at tourism. And then for risk, we look at why is icy world a risky world? Why are natural hazards such as tectonic hazards of earthquakes, volcanoes, and tropical storms, that's meteorological, and tsunami for tectonic risk, and how can we manage those? And then year 9 we look at how can we be our worst enemies? How can humans be their own downfall in some ways? And we look at viruses, we look at nuclear energy, etc. And then for inequality, we look at development, we look at aid, and then we focus on inequalities of health. With a specific focus on different diseases such as malaria or AIDS, and the risk of diets, for instance. Okay, and ultimately, each unit will be assessed, but we've tried to move away from the boring 6 units, 6 essays in the year, mainly to diversify away from writing, because not everyone enjoys writing, and it only tests one skill. And the skills we ultimately want to test at Key Stage 3 are down here. We want to test students' numeracy, literacy, map skills, the oracy when they speak, and the analytical skills from data analysis, because all these are such a core part of geography at GCSE. Often at GCSE, geography gets picked because it's easier than history, there's less writing, and there is less writing than history, but there's an awful lot more skills in the type of exam questions students will be required to ask will require quite a breadth of skill. Okay, so in year 7, the essays for Bristol, UK City and Ice. In year 8, Hazard, Russia and China, Carbon. And in year 9, it's Human Risk, Sub-Saharan African Health, will be essay-based. And then what we call Applied will test a different skill. So in the dollar, it'll be a map skill. In water, it'll be a GIS, Google Maps, Google Earth skill. In development, it'll require a bit of numeracy analytics, because we're going to ask people to look at GDP, GNI figures, etc. In year 8, we look at aid is presentation. Hubside is mini coursework. We go on a trip. Migration is a debate. And then year 9, climate change, or we'll try and do a mini UN COP conference. Tourism is going to be making a brochure, and population, we actually give population pyramids, and we ask students to build a pyramid, analyze the pyramid, testing their analytical skills. Okay, so hopefully all these assessments put together prepare students, whether they pick geography or not, as with all the skills they need to be moving forward.